Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I expect my channel to be dark for a couple of weeks, and I did not want to leave the last video standing, the long impromptu reading that I did of Longfellow's poem, The Courtship of Miles Standish. If I decide to do a recording of Evangeline at some point, I will try to do a more careful version since I know how to splice disparate videos together. I can do it at a relaxed pace over a span of some days and then put the thing together. But I have no intentions really of doing that. I have not been reading for at least a week in anticipation of the presidential election. Today is voting day, and in Chicago, the polls will be closing within 15 minutes of now. No results will be known until the morning at best, and if we are lucky and a majority of the votes go one way and a clear result is known, that still will not mean the end of contention. We have one party in the election, one candidate who even days and weeks ahead of the voting has declared himself to be the winner. So he is supported by persons that will stop at nothing. They have no limits on what they will do to attain their little bit of power. Illegitimate means have long been welcomed by this party, at least during the course of my adult life. So I will leave that aside, but in the days to come, I do not expect to be reading. Hey, let him be. Come on. Hey, come on, let him go. Thank you. And other booktubers have referred to this sort of thing as a slump, but I don't see it as a slump. I have never been a very strong reader, and for the last 3 years, I have been dedicating myself to reading. I have a little book in which I record everything that I read, and I pretty much make sure I read every day. Well, this year, so far, there have been 2 junctures in which my schemes have fallen apart. Earlier in the year, I tried to read Victor Hugo's Les Miserables and detested the book, and then after that I did not read for a while. And now again, with the anxiety leading up to the election and then probably the post-election anxiety, I just have not felt like reading. I have not decided to give up on this whole reading goal or reading project, but for me that is ever a question. I hope actually to give it a full 5 years to determine whether this reading business is for me. Let him be. Come on, let him go. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, kiddo. Doo-doo. Come on, baby. Thank you so much. Yeah, good boy. Thank you, sweetheart. So, immediately, this is November. It is also called Nonfiction November, and it is also called Chekhovember. So there is a Chekhov event going on, and I just don't know if I should read some Chekhov. It's possible. This is translated by Ronald Wilkes, and I believe this is translated by Ronald Wilkes, and I've considered doing either of these. Now, this is the second volume in a trilogy by Gorky, an autobiographical trilogy, and I liked the first volume very much. Hey, hey, hey! Oh, he's just zooming. Okay. So I don't know if I want to tackle this now or do some Chekhov. And the other thing, I just was watching a Steve Donahue video, and he mentioned Mary McCarthy on Venice. And I have this nice little penguin with 2 books by her, one about Florence and one about Venice. And I would very much like to read it. All of these just happen to be mass market paperbacks, and the font in this one is slightly larger than the other 2, but the pages are slightly yellower. So those may be the determining factor. I don't know. I'm thinking about, for nonfiction, reading this one. Gorky is tempting as well. I have so many books that I should be reading that while I am not partaking in the Read What You Own challenge, I can see the wisdom of holding off on buying new things. And perhaps I'm hoping not to purchase anything new for the remainder of the year, but perhaps I should consider doing some sort of challenge like that. It's always easy to fly off after the latest craze, the latest enticement that one sees on some fellow booktuber's video. So last year, or no, this year yet, because the year has not turned over, a major goal that I set for myself was to read. Let him go, hon. Let him go. Thank you, sweetheart. Was to read Henry Adams's History of the United States. I plotted to give myself a whole year for that. I finished 2 months early, which was good, but that was intended to be a prelude to reading Francis Parkman's History of France and England in North America. And I have those also in Library of America editions. And so I've pulled them out, and Volume 1 is 1,381 pages. Volume 2 is 1,479 pages, for a total of, I guess, 2,860 pages. So about 3,000 pages. Now, if I do the math, it looks like I only have to read 8 pages a day to accomplish that. Somehow, with Henry Adams, I was reading considerably more than 8 pages a day. Well, not considerably more. I was reading about 18 pages a day. And regardless, it took me 10 months to get through. Now, I had time off. There were times when I just didn't read it. And I expect that to be the same for this. But regardless, I need to plot out some kind of battle plan, so to speak, some sort of plan for tackling this big work. And I'm not sure what that will be. Hey. So I will be fiddling around with that. And I also have this by Parkman. Now, I've had the Oregon Trail for years and years in a Penguin copy. I actually picked this up, well, for one reason, because it was cheap, and the other reason is that I would like to read The Conspiracy of Pontiac. So if for some reason I happen to finish my big Parkman opus, which I believe actually consists of 7 different books, if I do finish that, then I might consider The Conspiracy of Pontiac. I'm trying to read more materials by and about Native Americans, a huge deficit in my learning. And it would be nice to read some of these landmark books. And then as one gradually becomes familiar with them, one can fill in the gaps from later sources, or have at least a knowledge of what the reference is when one comes across it in another book. So, sorry, I'm a little bit distracted because we have dog on cat action here, which I have to monitor. I'm sort of a chaperone. So that is where things stand with me, and I just thought that I would report all of that to you. I had said that I have a book by Gary Wills about Henry Adams, and I would like to read that if I can. But that, at least for now, is going to be on hold. And I have been reading Mark Edward Lewis, the third volume in the Harvard series of Imperial China. And I just don't feel that I have the concentration. I tried to read a number of pages from it about a week ago, and I just could not concentrate. And it's the kind of thing you need to concentrate on if you're going to read. So I don't know if Mary McCarthy will serve me any better, but that is what I am thinking about. I should just stop it there. Thank you for stopping by my channel.